a tribute to my father, that would be to follow up something that was very serious with something like saying, 6-inch ribbon curls, 6 inches. Oh no. Do you guys watch this show? Anytime something was very serious going on, if my mom would be trying to lecture one of us or whatever, he would always come around the corner and be like, like. So as that song was playing, I was thinking, I'm not really wearing an appropriate shirt to end, a song that's so serious and so, and then I was like, oh no, my dad would love this. 6-inch ribbon curls. I had to share, while I was thinking about that, I had to share a story with you. When I was a kid, every year we would go to Colorado during the summer. We would go to a place called Creede, Colorado. I don't know if you guys could even see my shirt. And anyway, one year we went, and my brother was, he was 3 years older than me. And this one particular year, I was probably, 9. So maybe he was 6, maybe I was 10, he was 7. Anyway, the story goes like this. We had gone and stayed in these cabins up in the mountains, and my brother and I ventured off and found some little friends, people we didn't know before, but we met them in the little community there around the lodge. And they invited us to go over to their cabin for dinner. And it was back in the day when your parents are like, sure, so we went to the cabin for dinner. And the whole time we were there, I'm just going to use language from when I was a child. So here we go. The whole time we were there, my brother continued to fart. Just openly, loudly, in front of everyone. Now, he didn't make a big deal about it, but it was just part of our life actually growing up. My dad always thought that was very funny. And so I was mortified, as I was actually for the majority of my life. Anytime anybody would come to our house, and my dad would bless everyone with his presence. But this particular time, it was my brother. And so we go back to our cabin later, and I begin to tattle on him. And I'm like, Mom, it was awful. He just kept doing it over and over. And he was like 6 or 7. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. And so my mom, instead of getting on to my brother, which is what I anticipated, she begins to lecture my dad about the reason he thinks that's funny is because you think it's funny. You always do that, and you laugh about it. And blah. I mean, she just gave him the once over. So she said, you're going to have to make this right. I don't think it's funny. He's going to end up getting in trouble at school, so on and so forth. So later that evening, my dad takes my brother and gives him a good lecture. And I mean, I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, my dad is being serious. He's actually completely being serious. And he told him how inappropriate it was, that he shouldn't be acting that way himself at home, and that he's sorry that he's doing that and laying down a bad example. And he's basically tells him, that around strangers, it was embarrassing your sister. He goes through this whole thing, and it was probably lasted a whole 5 minutes of being serious with my brother. And I was thinking, oh my God, who is this man? Really? Oh my God, I was so proud. And then at the very end, he said, the most important thing, son, is to know this. Sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you can't help it. You just have to always remember to say, excuse me for farting. And it was of course, nothing was taken seriously after that. My brother was like, oh, this whole thing was a joke. Oh, anyway, why I decided to share that with you guys, I'm not sure, but I felt like I had to. 6-inch ribbon curls. Okay, got a lot on the agenda tonight. If you guys haven't watched Elf, you won't even know what that means. But okay, at the very top of the list of the most important things, I would like for all of you who are willing, I have put together, with the help of some of you, a prayer vigil that is going to start on Friday, and it's going to go literally around the clock, 24 hours a day, from Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time all the way until Monday morning at 9 a.m. And so if you're a shift worker and you would be willing, or if you would be willing to wake up in the middle of the night and take one of those nighttime shifts, we're going to be praying over our company, over the customer service, and actually, if you'll just read the description on the prayer vigil, I've put the link to the prayer vigil where you can literally go sign up. We're having 3 people, a new rotation of 3 new people every 15 minutes for 24 hours a day from Friday morning until Monday morning. And I felt called to do this. I've had more than one person mention to me about doing this. And it was like, okay, the reason I wasn't doing it is I wasn't really knowing how to organize it. And there's an app to do it. So there you go. We've got it organized. If you'd be willing to join us in that, you can find the link either on the butterfly page or on my wall. I've posted it both yesterday and today. So if you want to take one of the 15-minute intervals or several of the 15-minute intervals, or you want to take several in a row, however you want to do that, that would be wonderful. One of the ladies, she's actually not on our team, she's an adopted butterfly, has offered to write out she was feeling led to write out some particular prayers so that we're including like customer service and shipping departments and our executives and all this stuff. And she's looked up some scripture and she's working on that. So if you're a person that's like, I would love to do this, but I'm not, I don't know for sure what I should say. Hang on one second. If you're not sure what you should say, if you don't really know how to pray very much, whatever, maybe that would help you get started. Okay, enough about that for now. I want to encourage all of you who have not already, if you plan to go to a Super Saturday and you plan to go to one that's not fully booked, I encourage you, there's still time to register in some of the venues, not all of the venues. Super Saturday, January 9th, there's an opportunity meeting in each location on the Friday beforehand. So that's something that's coming up. What is pressing right now, however, is this new promo that we have. I say it's pressing just as in we've got a few days to really use the advantage of this new promo. I don't know if you guys watched that video that I did the other day, but I shared on the video that one of the diamonds on our team actually signed up during a New Year's Eve promo, just like this one. She said, when she tells her story, she just said, it's Tammy Elmore, so I'm talking about, she just says, I like a good bargain. And she said, she didn't know how much she was going to make this into a business or whatever. And so I think she signed up for $20 or something like that. And she's a diamond ambassador. Her sister's a diamond ambassador. She's got a slew of jewels on her team. So you never know what you're going to find with a cool promo or a cool discount. You never know what kind of treasures out there waiting for you to offer it to them. For those of you who watched last week's, I really want to, last week's Zoom call, I want to expand on that. I know we talked about making our list of 100 people. We talked about using that list to whittle down and make a list of 20. Our first, our top, star it by your favorite prospects. And sometimes if you pray over it, your favorite prospect list may change according to what you thought. And I want you to whittle it down to 20, and I want you to really begin sending out these private messages to each of these people on your top 20 list, especially now that we have this promo. I told you guys I thought we would have a promo, and we do. I just now added to the chat box a link. Now, hang on, I'm going to click it myself. Make sure it takes yes. Okay. Okay. I've started playing it so that y'all are hearing it.
Years ago, I was really struggling with life. I felt like I had everything.
Okay. That link that I added to the chat box is a breakdown of what we talked about that Sophia put together, and it's awesome. The way she put it together is beautiful. Of the notes that she took from last week's chat, and put it together beautifully, and something that I'm going to have to learn how she did that, because it looks like its own little website, and she took the notes from last week. So if you're wondering, where would be a good place to find it all concise, she did it perfectly, and I thought you guys could go and use, I don't know, can you highlight? I think you would be able to highlight from that. Let me check and see really quick. You're going to hear that noise again. Just a minute. Yeah, you can. You can highlight from it and copy it into the notes in your phone. Whatever. Anyway, I feel like it would be a good idea for you to do that. Here's some things that I want you to add to it. If you are the kind of person that likes a fuller menu of things to choose from to do on each day, if you're kind of like, no, I just want the bare basics, you already have the bare basics. If you want a fuller menu, I want you to add on Wednesday nights, or Wednesdays, it doesn't have to be Wednesday nights, on Wednesdays that you can listen to the opportunity call that the company puts out. Also, we have the opportunity call that comes out in Spanish as well. The reason I think it's really important, like if you're an old schooler like me and you've been with this company forever, my belief is built up through the roof so high that it's like, I don't know what would cause my belief to be any higher in the products or in the compensation plan. If I wasn't to that point, I would be filling my cup up in every chance I got, listening to new testimonies and such. And the company puts them out there for us on every Wednesday. So they usually send it to you in email. If you're not on the email list for some reason, let me know. Every Wednesday, you should be getting an email that tells you that the company's that tells you the link to the company's opportunity call for that week. It is a great prospecting tool that is, one, compliant, company sponsored. It's going to have accurate information in it. And so you could actually take that call and send it to prospects on your list. Especially what I think it's great for is it's a great memory jogger. So if you're listening to the call and someone starts talking about something that makes you think of someone, you think, oh my gosh, I haven't even thought of my dental hygienist, and this story makes me think of her. And so you could say, it gives you a perfect lead in to send to someone. And that leads me to the next thing. So that's for Wednesdays. On Thursdays, they do the Diamond documentaries. I send Diamond documentaries to people all the time. It's one of my tricks of the trade. I watch the Diamond documentary every Thursday. It's usually less than 10 minutes. Whatever Diamond documentary comes out, and I think to myself, okay, who does this make me think of? Usually, just whatever job the person used to have will make you think of someone. Maybe maybe they'll have a home life situation that'll make you think of someone. Maybe they're married to someone whose job will make you think of someone, whatever. And then you can use that, put the Diamond documentary in a private message or in a text form, or even call them and say, hey, I have something I want to send you that made me think of you. It's a perfect prospecting tool. Literally cut and paste the link, send it to them and say, hey, when you have about 10 minutes, would you watch this and tell me your favorite part? It made me think of you because blah, blah, blah. But you're asking them to watch it and tell you something back. Let me look at my notes. If you haven't, okay, so that's Wednesday and Thursday. We've added some body to this list. If you haven't yet watched the video on the butterfly page that I made about the new promo, hang on a second. I'm going to take a note really quick because my phone's about to die and I'm afraid my list is going to go away. That's one reason I'm talking so fast, and it's not going to make any difference if I'm talking fast or not. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my phone's going to die and my charger's not over here. Okay. If you haven't watched the video that I did yesterday when the promo came out, about the new promo, you should go watch that. It will probably give you some great ideas, some verbiage to use on people to talk to them about joining the business. I do want to do just a tiny little snippet of sort of a how Lori used to do Plexus and how Lori does Plexus now view. I know many of you already know this, but I want you to, in case you've never heard this is important. I used to think that the majority of your people should be preferred customers first, at least, anyway. I still think it's probably smart that people have tried it before they become an ambassador. However, I will say this. When I've surveyed on the Jewels page to determine whether people were people who are Jewels now, whether they joined, like clicked the button that said, I want to join Plexus, if they did it with the intent in their heart of becoming a superstar millionaire, or if they did it because they wanted the products cheaper, it's always B. Almost in every, there are exceptions to the rule, but the majority of the people on that page did it to get their products cheaper. So again, like I was talking about earlier, people who will join because of a promo, the same is true that they'll join to get the products at wholesale and accidentally trip into a business when, especially us women, we're just blabbermouths, and when we like something, we just can't help but tell people. And that is exactly how this became a business for me. I had no idea that it was a possible business. I had no idea that it could be, any money could be made. All I knew is how well the products were working for me. And don't underestimate how many mothers there are out there who want to feel better and would love to make some extra cash. And we overcomplicate things. That's my theme, by the way. For 2016, don't muddy things up. Don't make things too complicated. When you get it in your mind, and like the longer you've been an ambassador and you think, gosh, I know so much about blood sugar now, and I've learned so much about candida and gut health, and oh my Lord, and I'm supposed to teach this to people. Well, the truth is, all you really have to know is how to use a credit card and how to talk. And I'm talking about if you yourself want to be able to basically teach this business to other people, all you have to really do is convey your belief in the products, your belief in the compensation plan, and get them excited enough to pull out their credit card, spend the $35, or right now the $23 for the promo, and join your team. When we really complicate it and muddy it up, and I'm making a confession here, I've muddied it up for people too many times. I have made it sound too difficult. I have tried to make it a long-term decision for people. Okay, let me explain what I mean by this. I try to explain the end result to people at the point where I'm wanting them to do the very first step. Does that make sense? I want you to literally pull out your credit card and click join, but I jump ahead and say, and you could have financial freedom, and you could be well from everything that plagues you, and your family could be staying at home, your husband could retire, and all that stuff is so separated from what they can see about their lives right at that moment that they're like, okay, anyway, but tell me how to join. I mean, I don't know. That happened for you, I understand, but you got in early. Or that happened for you, but you know, no one else in your town was doing it. Or that happened for you, but you know so many people, or whatever. They can't get past their own excuses to see it for themselves. And sometimes I just feel like you just have to trick them in to the business. Like, it's not really a trick as in you're being sneaky, but they have to trip into it. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for everyone. You're going to come across those personality types. Like if you're doing the red, blue, yellow, green personality types, you're going to come across that personality type that's green or whatever, and they need to know all the information, every bit of the information. Those are few and far between. Most people just want you, half the time they're to the point that they will just give you their credit card and say, I'm so busy. I don't need to know all that. I just need to know how to join. I want to get my products cheap, and the products will come in and lend you a hand in the fact that the products actually work. And that's the huge, magnificent difference between this business and almost every other business out there, is the fact that they're going to see a marked result within a short amount of time. They're not going to have to spend a fortune and stock their pantry with product in order to get to that result. In fact, and this is something I'm pointing out to people every single day, is this. You don't have to make any kind of commitment at all to get the products at wholesale. If somebody had said that to me a year ago, I'd have been like, yeah, you do. You have to do 100 in PV a month, but no, you don't. To get the products at wholesale, this company is so nuts and crazy. You don't have to do that even to get the products at wholesale. So I think that's another thing we trip ourselves up on is we start into this whole, well, all it takes is you have to buy 100 worth a month in order to, no, not to join, not to get the products at wholesale. And the truth is, people are either going to work the business or they're not going to work the business. Like, the products usually convince them. The products and a taste of the compensation plan usually convince people that this is something that's real. And then they begin to get curious about the compensation plan. I can't see the people's faces I'm looking on. Y'all are doing other things, so I can't really tell for sure if I'm even sinking in with some of you, but this is very relevant and very important. The fact is, so many people have been puked on about Plexus by one of us, or they've just been puked on about Plexus by their news feed, that they can't see the forest for the trees because, first of all, they haven't taken the products. Maybe they probably haven't taken the products. If they haven't taken the products, you are wasting your time, more than likely. I'm going to say with like 80% of people, you are wasting your time. If they haven't even tasted it, if they don't have any idea what it's like to be clouds gone from their head, you are trying to push air in a balloon that is already at capacity. It's like, I can't even think. I'm at soccer practice. What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? And really what you want to say is just put it in a bottle and drink it. Do it for 6 days in a row and call me back. Tell me what happens. That's your best plan of attack for 2016. Don't muddy the water. Don't make it complicated. Get it in people's hands. Right now is the perfect way to get it in their hands with the whole wholesale club mentality that I hated forever. Still don't like it, but it's fruitful. I've seen enough fruit from it. It's one of the whole, it's a throw enough mud against the wall and some of it's going to stick. I always was like, hey, my people stick. Because I sort of like, what am I doing? I'm prejudging people. That's not good. I'm prejudging. I know which one of these people are going to really sell it, which of these people are just going to use it, which of these people are going to do whatever. Well, the fact is we don't. I'm super glad that someone didn't prejudge me. If they had even prejudged me based on a few questions in the beginning, which nobody asked me questions, but had they asked me some questions, I would have given them the kind of responses that said, give me your link and quit bothering me, please. Because that's how I feel about anything like this. I would have been like, oh, that's great. That's great. And it actually, if someone had approached me about it and I didn't think I was interested in it, I might have been like, yeah, my cousin sells that, to get me off the hook from having to buy anything from people. That's how like most people are. They're like, no. I don't want any part of any of that. So if they're showing any interest in the products, if they're showing any interest in the business, I feel like the less that you puke on them, the less information that you give them, and get the products in their hands before you start explaining the compensation plan, before you explain 11 ways that you can make money with Plexus. Because, I mean, honestly, without looking at the chart, can you name the 11 ways your own self? I've been in the company for 4 years, and when I start listing them, I think, oh my God, what am I leaving out? Business building bonuses or whatever, And the truth is, people don't care. If they start making money, they're like, oh, hey, making money. I know that there's going to be exceptions to that rule, but I'm excited that there are exceptions to the rule. So you don't have to know everything to make this business work. Hang on, I'm going to check questions. Yeah, shake it up in a water bottle and drink it. Mostly, just don't make it too hard. Okay, hang on. This is what I want you to add to the rest of your schedule that we've made. this is so important. I want you to have monthly goals for yourself. If you don't already have that in your mind, and you're like, if you're on the Zoom call, then you have something in your head. You may not have a goal, but you want things to happen. So I feel like I'm talking to the right crowd here. This is not like I'm posting this on my wall. If you don't already have a monthly goal and you don't already have it written down where you see it every single day, do that tonight. I want you to do that tonight. And it can change. You don't have to think, oh gosh, if I put this down as my monthly goal, I'm stuck to this. But I went for almost an entire year last year where my monthly goal was to go silver, sterling, what I was calling sterling silver every single month, meaning I would add 3 new qualified ambassadors every single month, and I would replace if they had been preferred customers, because I really like to flip people. I like to start them out on the products if I can, and then flip them into ambassadors. Feel like that's the best, that's the easiest way to trickle them into it. To me, that's what I was calling sterling silver. I'm replacing the ones that were preferred customers that I have flipped into ambassadors, replacing those 3 every month with 3 new preferred customers on whatever products I could get them to try, because I'm going to be honest with you, all our products are very valid and they work well for people. I like to get people on the triplex, get them hooked, flip them into ambassadors. And that was my goal for an entire year, is sterling silver. And it was always like this, just a cycle, and it kept a constant flow of new blood. It wasn't overwhelming for me. Now you may be in a different pace where you're like, oh, that's not nearly fast enough for me. That's great too. I want you to go as fast, hard and as fast as you want to. If you haven't worked through your warm market yet, I want you to work through that warm market as fast as you want to. But the thing is, I had gotten to a place where the majority of my people had heard about it. They knew what I did. All my family knew what I did. I had talked to all my family about it. And I was to a place where I was prospecting mostly cool market people. And I was happy to be finding 3 valid new ambassadors every single month. And by going, do you realize that that's how you go? You can go diamond. That's how you go emerald. That's how you go anything, is just go silver several times. If you're doing it at a pace that is like I was doing it, you can not only go silver every single month, you can actually train those 3 adequately enough that that's what you do, and they're doing the same. And that's how you go any rank, is to be flipping customers into ambassadors and training them to get new customers and flip those customers into ambassadors. This business is not difficult. It's actually very simple. And if you want longevity in this business, if you want to be able to retire, you want to be built on a very strong foundation, and the strong foundation can be found in training your people well, great follow-up skills. I was not great. I mean, if you're listening to this chat tonight and you're like, I'm not great at any of that. I'm not great at follow-up, whatever. I haven't been reaching out to my customers. I was terrible at it. I had a lot of customers in the beginning because of the fact that I was the only person. For a long time, I was the first person and one of the only people in my area selling it. And so I had lots of customers. I wasn't great at follow-up. I didn't even know this was going to be a moneymaker. I didn't think I needed those skills. I thought that some of that stuff was silly and overrated. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I had only known to be a thank you card sending, praising and acknowledging person in the beginning, this whole entire thing would have gone so much differently for me, as in it would have gone faster, and certain people that I have lost over time, I would not have lost those people. And so I am actually sharing that with you guys so that you know. Hang on, I saw a question pop up that I wanted to tend to, but I got to see what it was. Okay. Laura said, how do you find cool market people? I don't know, you guys have heard me give the example of, this is just one example, but when if I'm talking about completely cool market, I'm talking about strangers. I find those people when I'm out and about doing things. I will confess that those people are more difficult to get to try the product sometimes, not always, than your average person that's known you your entire life. When you take the fact that you've known someone like family your entire life, let's say a cousin. Usually cousins are better than siblings and parents. But let's say cousins. Cousins have known you. You have a certain relationship and rapport with those people, and you can back everything up with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Every cousin you have should be trying Plexus. I mean, I'm just saying, you should be able to be like, hey, my man, hey, girl, what's going on? You need to try this stuff. If you don't like it, I'll help you get your money back. You be willing to try this for me? When New Year rolls around, you need to have every cousin you know on Plexus. Siblings and parents are a whole other deal because they grew up with you and you picked your nose and whatever. They may not give you the same amount of, you may not have the same status in their minds in the beginning. But that's what I'm calling warm market. When you get into cool market, sometimes I'll take referrals from people. If someone is not willing to join my team, and they just are blatant, they're like, look, I'm not interested at all. I love my job, whatever. I'll say, all right, you got any names? I'll give you some X factor if you give me a name that's fruitful. Think of your very best names. That's cold market people. And I'm going to reach out to them and I'm going to say, hey, Sally said I could contact you because you have diabetes. What's up? That's what I do to get cold market people. Also, I have found that I've handed out enough business cards over time that I get cold market referrals, not all the time, but once or twice a month, I'll get a phone call from somebody. Just picked up a business card somewhere. Of course, I know I've been in this for 4 years, so that's going to happen to me. I wear my Plexus t-shirt almost everywhere I go, and I chat people up like crazy. I mean, I've always done that. I'm a borderline interrogator. I ask people questions. I ask people nosy questions. I ask about, where they got things. I've always done that. So it lends itself. If you're not like that, you can always start being like that. Ask people questions. Where'd you get that sweater? Hey, I like your shoes. Man, you have an awesome haircut. Start a conversation. Conversations are the way to get your cold market people wondering about you. If the conversation goes well, you say, hey, I'd love to keep in touch with you. Let's add each other on Facebook. Like I say all the time, this happens to me all the time. You've heard me say the Hobby Lobby thing. If people are doing projects, they love to show their projects off. You say, hey, add me on Facebook. I want to see your project when you're done. Happens to me all the time. Every time I'm in Hobby Lobby, I add a new person on Facebook. Almost every single time. Hardware stores probably work just as well for you boys. Hang on a second. Okay, on your monthly goal thing, besides for yourself, I want you to write down a monthly goal for your marriage or your spouse's, like, for example, this is getting like outside of Plexus. Weekly date night, something maybe that you couldn't afford before, time-wise, or you couldn't afford financially. Something that is exciting that you think, oh yeah, that'd be really exciting to add that to what we do every week. Factor in the fact that you want to be able to pay for dinner with your Plexus money. You want to be able to pay for a movie, and you want to be able to pay a sitter and tip all of them well. So count that money up and make that a new monthly goal. And then after you have gotten that goal, start working on weekend trips. To me, it's the little things along the way that make the big goals get here quicker. Does that make sense? Like, you're shooting for emerald, and if along the way all you have is emerald, it can start to feel like it's really distant. But if along the way, if you're nurturing your marriage, you're nurturing relationships, maybe you have a relationship that you would love to be even able to take your mom out to get her nails done once a month. Maybe your mom is not doing well or something like that. You want to be able to visit your mom more often. Whatever you know would ring your chimes. I want you to begin to put those goals down. I want you to put them in front of you where you see them, because I'm going to tell you what, when you tap into here, that's when you're going to have goals that, well, they're going to mean something to you. The goals are going to mean something to you, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you. A Plexus Lexus means nothing to me. There are people out there that would mean everything to them. I drove through a drive-through the other day, and the girl says, "Oh my God, what kind of car is that?" And I was thinking, "Oh, wow." I was like, "It's a Lexus." And she's like, "Oh." She goes, "No wonder, it's beautiful. Oh my God." Totally admiring my car. And she comes out of it was a convenience store. She comes out of the convenience store, and and it wasn't in the greatest neighborhood. She was making me nervous. She's like walking around it, looking at it. She goes back in, and I'm thinking, I'm an idiot if I don't prospect this girl, right? So I'm like, I give her my business card, and I was like, "It's a Plexus Lexus." She's like, "Plexus?" I said, "You heard of Plexus?" She's like, "Yeah, I've heard of Plexus." She said, "They give you a car?" So I started explaining to her in simple terms. I was like, "They pay for it every month." "Yeah." She's like, "Oh my gosh. How do you go about that?" I said, "Girl, add me on Facebook and I will explain it to you." She's like, "Oh, okay." So I give her my phone and let her add herself on Facebook. Okay. Now, somebody drive up to me in a Plexus Lexus. I would not know it from a Shih Tzu or a Mitsubishi or a Honda or anything else. I don't know any of that stuff. Even though my husband and my dad are car people, I'm all like, don't matter to me none. I was driving a Dodge conversion van 1998 when I got my Plexus Lexus, and I would go right back to it if I needed to, because I like the room. But I want you to have things on your vision board and on your monthly goals that you know are going to speak to you right here. Because if it's speaking to you here, and it might just be alone time, oh my goodness. If you are raising little kids who stick their fingers under the door when you go to the bathroom, you just might want to go somewhere sometimes without other people at all. You might want to just book a hotel for your own self. You know what I'm saying? But it needs to speak to you. And I want you to have those kinds of goals written down and in front of you that are short term, not long, not just the long term. I want your long-term goals out there too, but I want you to have each little sticky piece of the train track that gets you to that long-term goal written down. Secondly, I want you to have giving and savings goals. If you are a person who wants to give, whether that means to you, it matters not to me whether that means that you are a tither, or if that means that you have something that you want to pour into. It could be a charity, it could be a ministry, it could be a brother's surgery, it could be anything, something else that gets you here, that makes your heart sing. You understand what I'm talking about, right? It needs to make your heart sing. A giving goal that I want a sticky train track piece, giving goal, and I want a long-term giving goal out of every one of you. I want this written down. And I want a savings. So we're talking personal, marital, dating, whatever goal. We're talking giving goal and a savings goal. Do you understand how those are all three different things? As far as your savings goal, I want you to be doing the same thing with it. I want you to do something personal. Hang on a second. Jetty, it's like I'm melting in here now. Can you turn the heat down?
Trying to make up for it being cold last week.
You have, like, Olaf is over here in summer. It's really hot. Can you go turn it? Thank you. Okay. had a blanket on me when I first started this chat. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. This is the house. I know I told you guys this before, but this is the house we lived in when we first got married. And it always was like this. It's like when you turn the heater on, oh my gosh. Okay, so on your savings goals, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to do the little train track savings goal. If you're saving, you may be saving like saving for something long term. But if you're just saving money up so that you can get something or do something or help someone or whatever savings goal that is more short term, you so need to have that on your list. It needs to be on your 2016. These are what I want to do. So I'm hoping I am painting a picture for you guys of it's vision board work, but I'm wanting to really give it body for you. I'm wanting to make it to where you're like, I get it now. I see what she's asking me to do. I see why it's important to do that. I see why it's important for it to be, if I'm not a Lexus person, then I don't need to put a Lexus on my vision board. Does that make sense? If you're the kind of person that opens the emails and you watch Diamond documentaries, and by the way, Diamond documentaries are a great way for you to start making vision board goals, because you'll notice that there's all the stereotypical, what I'm trying to say, network marketing, jewelry, fancy car, all that stuff can be found in this company very easily. But you'll notice when you watch the Diamond documentaries, they hardly ever talk about that. The majority of the people in this company are like, oh, that's a cool thing. Those things are cool. But a lot of them are just really enjoying time with their family. They're really enjoying having, many of them retired their spouses or those types of things. And so if that's what makes your heart sing, whatever it is, I'm not judging you if you love a Lexus, because, hey, I got things I love too that are like, they require the money. So I'm not making fun of that. I just don't happen to be a car person in general. So if a Lexus does make your heart sing, then you do need to have that on your vision board. Okay, hang on a second. Okay. Most importantly, of everything we've talked about tonight about your goals, you need to write them down. You need to have them on a vision board. They need to be visual. I can't even say this enough. And tonight, when tonight at church, our pastor he's gone. And so someone else was speaking. And when he was speaking, I was just dying, because he was talking about having a personal relationship with God and how important that was, and how important love is. And I was just all I could think the whole time, because he was so good what he was talking about, but my brain wouldn't quit thinking the how is missing. Like, he was saying how important it is to have a personal relationship, how important it is to love, how important it is to all these things. And I kept thinking, oh, and in a minute he said, does anybody have any comments? He's a really great guy that goes to our church. And we were sitting all the way at the back. And after a while, I finally was like, raised my hand. I was like, me, I want to say something. And what I said, just to paraphrase, I don't remember because I got really choked up when I started talking about it. I'm going to try not to get choked up right now. Is I was saying how when, even up till a few years ago, how to have a personal relationship with God felt like from me to the stars. That's how far away it felt for me. I thought, I don't understand what people are talking about. I am very right-brained, and usually I can pick something up. I can pick up a paintbrush and I can create something, and if you give me a manual, it's going to mess it up. I can pick up a camera and teach myself over time how to take beautiful pictures. So why is it, and I would ask God this, why is it, if that's how I am, you would think it would be easy for me. I should be the most natural person in the world to just be like, and now I have a relationship with God because I figured that out too. For me, it was not natural. It did not feel natural. It felt very distant and vacant and open and cold. And I knew it was me. I knew it was on my end. But I didn't grow up knowing. No one ever told me how. And here's what I told them tonight. I said, once I realized that the secret for me, and I think for the majority of people, is in gratitude and worship. If you wake up every single day thinking about what you are glad about, what you are grateful for, and the ways that your life has already been blessed, it changes the tone of your life. And if you want to ever experience what this, like tonight, he was just saying that there are times that he can literally feel what he feels like is the presence of the Holy Spirit or presence of Jesus wrapped around him. And I always was like, I think people are making that up. I'm just being honest with you. Gratitude and worship. That's where it is. You can be grateful. It doesn't make you ungrateful to want more out of this life. You can be grateful for what you already have, blessings in a relationship, in a marriage, in your relationship with your kids, in all these things. You can be grateful for these things and still want more. I think Christians so many times get stumped by feeling like they need to be okay with the way things are, because to want more is, I don't know, fill in the blank, selfish, self-centered, something. I was so stuck in that I thought, well, I was just being dishonest all the time because I did want more. I wanted more in my relationship with God more than I wanted anything else. But I wanted more in other ways too. And I felt like I would be judged for wanting more. So I constantly tried to tame that about myself. I constantly was like, I don't think it's right to want more. I'm already so blessed. And I already was so blessed. Even when Jenny was working at the tire plant, even when, whatever, we all are, we're already so blessed. Every time we take a breath, we're already so blessed. But the thing is, you can wake up in gratitude for what already is. You can wake up and express that gratitude, and that's where worship comes from. Worship comes from the fact that we're not worthy, yet he deems us worthy. That's where worship comes from, a worshipful heart. 1 second. Another thing is, if you walk around judging other people, I don't care what they're doing wrong. Oh my gosh. Nothing will make me just be like, quicker than to watch people trying to figure out exactly how to say this. To watch people think that their sin is less than other people's sin, and therefore walk around with a judgmental spirit and judgmental heart. I think that robs you of so many blessings. And I know you guys didn't get on here for a lecture tonight, so I'm not really trying to lecture, but it is the end of the year. It's a perfect time for already being ready to reflect on what is past and be ready to make this brand new year count for something. Like, we're not going to do a Zoom call next Wednesday night. We will do the following Wednesday night. But this next Wednesday night it's the day before Christmas Eve. I feel like I just want you guys to be spending time with your family. Some of you will be off work, and I've already pretty much gone over time tonight, but I want the end of this year to be filled with gratitude for you guys. And I want the beginning of next year to be filled with gratitude. And I want you to experience the fullness of what you can experience in this life. And I want you to, and I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about peace, love, grace, mercy, all of those things. It starts with gratitude. Hang on a minute. Okay. It's starting to cool off over here. I was about to break out in a sweat. Okay. So tonight I really want to pray over you guys. But before we start praying, see what time it is. Before we start praying, I just want to take like a minute. I want everybody to close their eyes, and I want you to really get focused on something. Whatever gives you the warm fuzzies. It might even be your dog. Something, because our dog's not the most precious thing. Oh my gosh. They just love us, and they love us, and they love us even when we're stupid and when we don't feed them on time, and when we eat breakfast before we give them their breakfast, and we forget to water them and water your dogs. Anyway, whatever it is, I want you to focus on something that just gives you the warm fuzzies. And we're going to take a whole minute to do that. I'm going to shut up. Father, you are so holy. We just love you so much. We're so grateful for who you are, for your presence in our lives, and that we just experience you more and more every day. I'm so grateful for every time we get a glimpse into something that doesn't make sense to us, and you just give us a glimpse of your holy plan. My heart fills up with joy every time that happens. I ask for more experiences like that, Lord. I ask that you give us eyes that can see what you see in other people. When people are hurting and they act out and they do unspeakable things, show us who they are in your eyes, Lord. Give us like heavenly glasses and let us see that we're all your kids, that we all share an atmosphere. We all share this earth, that we all are one. We all belong to you. Even the ones that do unspeakable things. You created all of us. Lord, tonight, I can just feel your presence. I feel your spirit. Such a peaceful, calm, loving atmosphere tonight. Your spirit's so loving. I just ask that your presence just be in our hearts like a calming, like it's just pouring in all the dusty cracks, like honey, liquid honey. It's just pouring in the cracks of our heart. Anything that feels like hurt or betrayal, confusion, any kind of nastiness, Lord, pour your love in those cracks in our heart. Give us your heart for people, Lord. Show us what your plans are for this next year. Remind us that you're not really ruled by a calendar. Remind us how you work too, Lord. You don't work linear. You are all around. You are everywhere, all powerful. And when things look like they're not going according to plan, teach us how to trust. Sometimes I think we get confused about who has control over everything. When it looks like someone has come in and snagged your plan, Lord, I think we're the first ones to jump in there and say, oh, that happened because of the enemy. But Lord, I know that you already defeated the enemy, and that's just an illusion. Sometimes it's even part of your plan. Actually, I think it's usually part of your plan, Lord, to bring out our faith, to teach us how to trust, to teach us how to lean so deep into you, Lord, that nothing else can reach us. And you're always so faithful to just cover us and show us how much you love us. I'm praying over every single person on this call tonight that if you are spinning around in a circle or chasing your own tail or whatever it is where your life feels like confusion, I just pray that you'll just hit your knees tonight. Literally, like just like you see in a picture, hit your knees right beside your bed, pour it all out, leave the side of your mattress soaking wet. You will be surprised at how different you feel when you stand up. Even if you're mad, even if you're hurt, discouraged, he already knows it anyway. You might as well just say it. Lord, I'm so grateful that you'll be there when people do that tonight. You'll be there. They'll actually sense your holy presence in their room tonight when they do that. So grateful that you're just going to heal hearts, heal relationships and families, bonds, make things brand new for people. And when it's not a situation that can be made brand new, Lord, I just so grateful that you'll give them the step, every single little first step that they need to take toward mending relationships, and toward walking a step closer to you every single day, Father. Remind us every single day to lay it at your feet. It's not ours to carry around. Remind us that is maybe the biggest struggle we'll ever have, is to quit trying to carry it around our own self. I pray over the marriages in this team, any other relationships formed in this team, Lord. I pray that your Holy Spirit is so thick in every house that worship music fills and floods every room. I pray over our children, Lord, that you just guide them every single day. When we can't be around, you're guiding them. When we are around and we think we're the boss, you're guiding them. You're loving them. You're showing them the way. I pray that you're filling in the gaps, Lord, for all those families that don't know how to let you guide. I trust that you are filling in the gaps. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your peace. Thank you that it's so strong and so tangible. Thank you for your Son who died for our sins so that we can have peace and so that we can have an eternity with you, Lord. I lift all these things up to you in Jesus' name. Amen. If anybody has a prayer request tonight that they want to send to me, I'm going to be praying over stuff later tonight. Send it to don't send it to the messenger thing here, because once this closes down, I won't be able to see them anymore. You'll have to send them to me on Facebook, if that's okay. I know that tonight's call was a little solemn, or not really. I don't know. I hope it didn't. I know it didn't feel like too much like Jingle Bells, but this is just where I felt the Lord leading me tonight. I do wish you guys a Merry Christmas, though. I hope y'all have time for one more story. Okay, so when I was a little kid, one year. By the way, I'm going to stop recording. No, I better keep recording. I'm just fearful that my mother's going to hear this, what I'm about to say. Okay, anyway. When I was a little kid, I grew up in severe dysfunction, major, but my parents were very adequate at Christmas mornings, okay? Like, oh no, this was a major priority for my mother, always. Very, very important to her. And one year, for Christmas, I was probably 6 or 7. So my brother was probably 3 or 4, and my sister wasn't born yet. Back in the good old days, I always used to, by the way, I used to get my mom something every year that said Christmas 1982 or Christmas 1981. It'd be like a little plate or an ornament, and it would say Christmas 1981. I would say, our last good Christmas, because that was before my sister was born, and I'd give it to her in front of my sister every year. But anyway, that's here and there. So it was just my brother and I. This is before my little brat-faced sister was born. And we walk in there Christmas morning, and under the tree is a Fisher-Price plastic. I want to say it's kind of like a khaki-colored tape recorder. Okay, oh my gosh. You just don't even know how bad I wanted a tape recorder that would actually not play songs, just play songs, but it would record my voice. Because I was like, I see my daughter now and I think, oh my God, I was dramatic. I just liked to talk and hear my voice back. Now, I grew up and I didn't like that anymore. But when I was a little kid, I loved to be able to hear my voice back saying something. And I would just say stuff like when you're talking to a fan, blah, 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 I would just say anything just to hear my voice back. So that's, of course, what I wanted for Christmas. And they made them for little kids. And what I remember the most, though, is since it did record, I was told, I'm sure, to press play. So I pushed play, and there was a tape that was already in there magically, and it was a recording of my mother accidentally stumbling upon Santa Claus in the middle of the night and having a conversation with him. Oh, oh my goodness. And then they talked, my mother and Santa talked about me and talked about my brother on this tape recording. Like, I would give anything if it wasn't in one of my mother's storage buildings somewhere, which I will, I'll probably never unearth it. But it's one of my most vivid Christmas memories is listening to that, and to think that I was probably really old before I realized the obvious part of that. I don't know who else kids are watching, but before I realized what my mother had stumbled upon, actually, okay? Like, I was teenager old before. I mean, I quit believing all of that, some of the things. I quit believing some of the things at a much younger age than teenage, but for some reason, that never occurred to me. I don't know who I thought. But anyway, that's one of my strongest Christmas memories, a Fisher-Price tape recorder of my mother talking to Santa. by the way, my mother is extremely quiet and quaint and very talented. She can play the piano by ear, any song you ever heard, and never will play it. She absolutely won't. Back when I was a kid, if she would have a couple of cocktails, she could sit underneath the piano and do like this and play anything you wanted. I mean, literally, she could have just heard it. She could play it. If you needed her to change key, she'd play it. Another key. If you need play it in a different key, she could play it in a different key. Whatever you wanted, she could play it. She could play it. Won't play it for anybody because she's so incredibly self-conscious, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So incredibly self-conscious. So if I only had a copy of my mother talking to Santa Claus, because for some reason it was like she knew him, and like their conversation was so animated. And for my mom in that light was so, as a kid, I just remember being so fascinated that it happened, and so fascinated that that of course that she was so animated and everything. Anyway, I just had to share that with you guys. I hope you guys have a super Merry Christmas. I hope it's everything that you have dreamed that it would be. And I hope that all of you will join us again, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. And make sure and post lots of cool pictures of your Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. That's my favorite stuff. So you guys have a super one, and I will talk to you soon. Don't forget to send your prayer requests. Toodaloo. I've officially put one of us to sleep. Oh, I'm still recording too. I'm going to unmute everyone on the count of 3. We're going to say, Merry Christmas, Mike. Okay? Did you guys hear me? I don't know if y'all can see him, but he's in a recliner. Okay? Hang on, I'm going to unmute everybody, and then I'm going to go. Wait. Okay.
Merry Christmas, Mike! He didn't wake up.
You fell asleep, Marco.
That's better than happy birthday, my man.
Oh, man.
Best day ever. Best day ever. Okay. Night, guys.